Good day, Grey School. This is Professor Ambika Devi, your Dean of Psychic Arts, and I am here to present to you a talk entitled Me Craft, the Art of Self-Acceptance. Self-acceptance is such an important part of building our self-esteem. And during this active experience and this transformational talk, I ask that you type in yes, yes, a double yes, to let me know you're right there with me, or if I say something that resonates with you. And I'll see that going across the screen. And I already see that coming in, and that's awesome. Happiness is your birthright. And we have to believe that as we were little children, even little babies, we believed that we were good enough and that every signal we gave out would be met. And we can think about it this way with wild animals. Let's take a tiger, for example. A tiger will hunt when it's hungry. And it doesn't think ahead and start storing and hoarding food. Nor does a tiger start looking in the mirror and saying, oh, I shouldn't be eating that kind of animal because I'm not looking as svelte as I'd like to be. They're running on instinct. And we human beings have instinct too. And when we're truly in our synchronistic state, our instincts are firing off perfectly. And so if you're resonating with me, remember, during this talk, I want you to type in yes, yes, a double yes, to let me know if I say something that resonates with you. Energy follows attention. And so we have to be really responsible where we place our attention. Our words are really, really powerful. And the more positive we can be with our words, the better. Our reality is formed by words, and they paint pictures inside the brain, and that's how it translates to us. The mind is an external toolbox. It's outside of us. And we have the ability to download information into the brain. And then it gets translated and fed into all different emotions and sensations and full bodily felt sensations, which are the most important. Because when we feel a full body rush, then we know something is true or happening. That's how we believe it. So oftentimes when we can't get in touch with those sensations, we'll stuff ourselves with other things. And these could translate into addictions. It could be shopping. It could be food. It could be other sources to change and alter the mind. It could be behavior patterns. And so pulling ourselves back to really knowing the truth inside of ourselves is so, so important. I had to learn about self-acceptance when I was in high school, a ninth grader, so just entering into high school. I was really passionate about writing. If you looked back at my notebooks when I was a child, I always wrote poetry and drew pictures in the borders of all of my notebooks. And when I got to ninth grade, I was really excited because then I was getting a more intensive English class experience. But I wasn't the world's greatest speller. Actually, I had a big challenge with spelling. And my ninth grade teacher told me at one point I would never amount to anything because I wasn't a good speller. Little did she know that by this point, I would have a computer with a spell checker. I also had a geometry teacher that same year who marked me wrong on every single test I took, so poorly that I got single digits out of 100. And I had to go to summer school. And in summer school, I was able to go to the head of the math department, who after 2 sessions said, bring your mom with you the next time. And he said, this is ridiculous. Ambika knows all of this geometry. She nails all the theorems. There's no reason why she should have been marked wrong on the math for the English. Well, thank goodness that didn't affect me, but it did. It did at some level because it took many years and until I got a spell checker, until I felt confident about my writing. And now I have 2 books and a third one in production and more on the way. And as all of my students at Grey School of Wizardry know, I've written a great many classes, 7 in this last year, and published them all. And as a result of having a spell checker, my ability has increased. So it's very interesting to look back at this experience and think about how it could have impacted me and it could have prevented me from appreciating myself and my creativity. And we need to be so aware of what we say to each other, because our words have such strong impact. And not everybody is as strong or self-confident as I have been, in that I believed in myself and I didn't give up on my writing and I just kept going. Now, also, from the time I was a little child, I was taught the importance of accepting all. And I think this is what really had a great deal to do with my ability to move through that and move way past it to the point of what I consider success with my writing, because I have won awards as a writer now. So how interesting that experience in 9th grade with 2 different teachers telling me I was worthless didn't really pay off for their words. Who knows what was going on? You know, sometimes we say things to people, and this could have been happening with my teachers. Maybe they were having a bad day. I know my one teacher was working on a book, my English teacher, and maybe she was frustrated or having some writer's block. So we have to be really aware of what we're passing on to others, because that happens. When we experience something, we can then pass it on to another person non-related to the initial incident. And it's so important for us to take time out, meditate, and give ourselves some love and support so that we're not passing that energy on. You know, another thing is how we view certain things. We like it, we don't like it, this is good, this is bad, this is positive, this is negative. Think about this. When you were a little child, you touched everything. You put everything in your mouth to feel it, to taste it, and to get to know it. And if nobody told you that a ladybug was cute and pretty, or a cockroach was icky, don't touch it, they're virtually the same kind of insect. And you never would have judged the cockroach in a negative way, and you wouldn't have judged the ladybug in a positive way. You would have simply accepted them as creatures. And this is so important when we're taking ourselves out into the world and when we're interacting with others. We have to learn to like me, to accept me. And we have to realize that unhappy people tend to criticize and happy people praise. And so we also have to look at how we're talking about ourselves, because those words really impact us the most, how we speak about ourselves. And if you're not sure how you do it, watch your speech, listen to yourself. And notice if you use phrases like I always, or this always happens, because these words then form into reality and you're actually creating more of that. So, as I said in the beginning, energy follows attention. So watch where you place your attention. You're an easy being to move forward in the right direction. And so if you have the opportunity to stand up I'd like to conduct a little experiment with you right now. Stand on your 2 feet, and hopefully you've got your bare feet on the ground or the floor. And put your hands on your heart space right in the center of your chest. And close your eyes and begin to breathe in and out through your nostrils. And notice the air on the inside front edges of your nostrils. Notice how the body is never still. It's always moving a little bit. That's because there's so many muscles holding up the 206 bones of your body. And when a situation is right, and if you'll think about loving yourself, praising yourself, feeling good about yourself, you should feel the weight of your body move a little bit forward into your hands. And this proves that your heart is like a pendulum. The same thing will work when you ask your body in this way, should I do this? And it's something that isn't a good idea. You should feel yourself moving backwards. I learned from a great teacher to speak to myself in this way and say, I am enough. And this helps so much to build my self-esteem. And what I did was I took little pieces of paper and wrote, I am enough, and put them at visual eye height around my house, so that every day as I walk through my house and do things, I'm seeing I am enough. And in the beginning, it's really helpful to say it out loud, to stop and pause in front of these and say, I am enough. And you can add other phrases if you like. I believe in myself. I love myself. I am enough. Maya Angelou, the great writer, said, you alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. And as I said, my teacher, Marissa Peer, said, you are enough. You have always been enough. So I urge you to try this experiment and put this around your house. Learn to say it. You could even make little alerts on your phone or your calendar so they pop up during the day, and you can remind yourself that you are enough. This is so powerful for building self-esteem and crafting self-acceptance. We also have to learn to embrace what's unfamiliar to us. So if we're used to shying away from things that we know are good for us, perhaps you want to change an eating habit or a sleeping habit. Maybe you hit the snooze button a lot. What we have to do is start to talk to ourselves and convince ourselves that this is great. I really love it. I mean, think about great athletes or having to trudge through snow and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to train. You know, we have to convince ourselves we love this. And so you can just create a phrase of I love, and then fill in the blank. I love doing this. And then we also have to learn to receive praise. When people praise us and give us positive feedback, it's so important for us to receive it and say, yes, thank you. I love that too. Perhaps they're making a statement about you. And, you know, a lot of times when an individual is in need of building up their self-esteem, they might downplay the positive feedback. And so learn to receive that. And let me know if that resonates with you by typing in yes, yes. Knowing that if I say, way to go, good job, you can look at that and say, yes, that was really great. Thank you. I agree. That feels really good. Another incredible technique that I learned is standing in front of the mirror and taking time once a day to speak your name and then tell yourself, I love you because. So I would say, Ambika, I love you because you're so full of energy. And do 3 phrases of I love you because. And then do 3 phrases of I forgive you for. And then commit to yourself with 3 phrases of I commit to you to. This will help multiply all of this positive energy. And what one of my great teachers from the past used to say, it will annihilate your stinking thinking. The brain is an eager servant, and it's up to you to program yours. We have to change the deep grooved patterns that happen when we repeat behaviors. And this will help you to take back the phenomenal confidence that you were born with, your birthright of happiness. Energy follows attention. So be mindful of where you place that attention. When I was a child, I was taught to embrace the world. I was often taken out of school and traveled with my family in foreign countries. And I was taught to try different foods, listen to the music, learn their dances, and look at their art and creativity. This is so important. And start with the world around you. Start with trying out some new things and tasting it, experiencing it. This will help to expand your culture that you've created inside of yourself. Albert Einstein said, everybody is a genius. But if we judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then the fish will live its whole life believing it's stupid. So we have to be careful how we judge ourselves and believe in ourselves that we can. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. And so we need to live by example. I see some great yeses rolling in through this, and I so appreciate it. And I would love to open it up to some questions. You can type in either here or on the other screen, and I'll do my best to address them. And I thank you so much for listening to me. And I want to hear what you would like to share. I see I got some kudos from Professor Kingsley. Thank you so much. I see, what do you do when a system you're in says you are not enough? Well, that's a great question, Lady Shadra. Really, you've got to build it up on your own. So I highly recommend the technique of taking little pieces of paper and putting them around. There's a lot of people who have picked up on this who are artists. So I encourage you, make real signs out of wood or clay or fabric and stitch them and put them around in different places. If you sit at a desk for long periods of time, put it where you'll see it at your desk. If you walk certain paths in your house, put it right at your eye height. So every time you walk by it, you stop and you say it. Another thing is gratitude. To take time in the morning to really get a full bodily felt sensation of 3 things that you're grateful for. And then do this again at night. Now, they could be the same things that you're feeling grateful for, but don't just check them off. Don't just say, roof over my head, check. Clothes on my back, check. No, get a really full bodily felt excited sensation, like somebody just gave you a present excited. And then move on to the next thing you're grateful for. This changes things so much. So if you're helping others or teaching and leading, and you're trying to inspire or motivate, teach everybody around you these techniques that I've shared with you today, because they're so important. And the more you grow your self-esteem, the more you radiate it to others. A really important thing is to get deep rejuvenative sleep. So thank you so much. I am so grateful to be a part of Grey School of Wizardry and to be your professor and dean of psychic arts. I invite you to come learn more about yourself through the meditation program that I've written. And it begins with your core energy classes, which you all are required to take. So that's your stepping stone into this path of self-actualization through meditation. And this is where the magic is. Magic always.